When I was a kid, I was terrified of being the only one on any given floor of my house. Just the idea was enough to send shivers down my spine. What really scared me wasn't being alone, rather it was because despite knowing that I was, I didn't feel alone. I could feel eyes on my back, see silhouettes in the shadows, hear murmurs in the other rooms. Most threatening of all, I knew myself an intruder, so I bargained. Over and over, I begged to be forgiven, to be spared. I promised to not spend long in the empty hallways and rooms. The house would only ever answer with merciless silence.
Does it not occur to you that as an organism existing within a greater organism, your intrusion would be felt?
Did you know that Coraline likely has arachnophobia? The book by Neil Gaiman says they made Coraline intensely uncomfortable. It's never brought up again. In fact, despite the plethora of references to spiders, from their webs to their egg sac and the color of their abdomen, a real spider is only present exactly twice in the story. One crawls over her hand in the dark, but the only other, more fascinating encounter goes like this. Then, she walked through an empty bathroom containing only a cast iron bath, and in the bath, a dead spider the size of a small cat. It is, just as Coraline's fear of spiders, never brought up again. Due to many more moments like these, the book is generally considered a much more disturbing version of LAIKA's stop-motion masterpiece, and what I found within its pages painted a much more interesting portrait of the strange house Coraline almost gets devoured in.
And now, like the wayward spider who witlessly settles upon a sweeper's tongue, you will be swallowed.
If you have never read House of Leaves for yourself, you might be surprised to learn that the Davidson's house, with its unforgettable 5.5-minute hallway, its enormous spiral staircase, and its great echoing growls, constitutes only really half of the narrative. In the footnotes of the mind-bending Davidson's record are the equally spine-chilling accounts of Johnny Truant, the man who found and published the manuscript. As he works on piecing together the dead man's ramblings into a coherent story, he starts experiencing strange and sudden extreme panic attacks during which he is certain a great unseen beast will mutilate him. He goes on for hundreds of words describing the paralyzing fear its deafening roar strikes in him. A roar not unlike that of the house.
If we were to dissect the house, we would find organs and stomach and brains and mind and eyes, teeth, dreams and memories and a mouth that will bite down.
After a few months, Johnny's situations worsen so much that people start assuming he's on drugs when they see him. Alas, drugs are not what's killing Johnny from the inside. It is a deep, uncontrollable, uncompromising, unshakable fear. Of all the aspects of Johnny's story, this is the one I relate to the most. I have pretty severe arachnophobia. Seeing a spider is all that's required to trigger it. If I'm not expecting it, a really bad attack can occasionally happen. I won't be able to stay still. Thousands of little legs will crawl all over my body, my clothes, my belongings. Continually shaking them off until I calm down or move far away enough is the only thing I can do. Sometimes I cry. The thing with a phobia of living things, very common living things, is that you are never really free of it. Just as the Davidsons have to contend with their house possibly betraying them, so do I have to consider that my house is simply a giant web I can't run from. Behind every corner, under every object, in every little shadow, a spider waits patiently for me to find it. In a way, I envy Coraline. The impossible pitch-black corridor leading to the other house is implied to have been found by the beldam, not made. As such, Coraline can effectively kick the spider out of her house and lock it away in whatever strange beast has made its home in the wall of the drawing room.
While a house may hunger, it cannot starve. And so, in fever and anger and loneliness, it may simply lie in wait. Doors open, shades drawn, hallways empty, hungry.
The beldam in the corridor, the house on Ash Tree Lane, the war in Johnny's head, and the hunger of Anatomy's house, they're all imagined. I can look up from my book or away from my screen and sigh in relief. But my beast is much too real. It might not eat me, it might not crush me, it might not cut me open, but one day, soon approaching as the exceptionally warm winter gives way to an exceptionally early spring, I will look up from a book or away from a screen and it will be there. All 8 legs and all 8 eyes. For probably as long as I live, I have to remind myself that every step I take is one step closer to my next encounter with my greatest fear, lest the beast might take me away for good in the dark recesses of my mind, where it has weaved itself a house.